Well, I'm back. Figure it's worth giving an update on the eyeshadow. I felt like the purple faded, and so I did touch that back up. I've now had the makeup on for about 12 hours, and I wanted to practice some eyeliner with this pen from the day that seemed to be dry at the tip before I go take a bath. And this is the perfect time. I've been inside today, so I did not get outdoor pollen and who knows what kind of germs that could be sitting on my eyelid that would then transfer to here. So that's why I'm more comfortable doing this at the end of the day. Otherwise, I might use something like a brush and a palette to not contaminate something that you can't really clean very easily. So I put it on the main eyelid first and then did a bit of a wing. But again, this tip is wonky, so it wasn't working like I hoped. But I kind of feel like, even though this look didn't include it on the Natasha site, this was the eye look that was kind of suggested there. I kind of like it. It is, dark, but there's something to it. At least on video, it looks pretty nice. In person, it's okay. I feel like I did take a nap, but I was on my back, and I did, touch the inner eye with tissue. So some of that's gone, like the brightness. And again, I totally added more of this and this, not really this. And I especially felt like the purple faded, and so I put more underneath as well. It's funny because I would think the bright colors wouldn't fade. And I know certain people always talk about blush fading first. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, we're going to try seeing what happens with this eyeliner. Again, this is like over mascara. So what did I do last time? I think I started in the middle. Oh, look, the tip is dry again. What good is that? So now I'm going to go on the, I hope this is visible. I'm going to go on the side, because presumably it should have some moisture there. And the tip is kind of now hurting my eye. What's up with that? This doesn't feel sharp, and yet it felt like it was dragging and poking in my eye. So I guess the good thing about it being dried out, not dried out, it hasn't been used enough to be dried out, but whatever is going on with it, it'll give that charcoal look instead of ultra super black. So that's fine for this part of the eyelining, but then what do you want? What do you do when you want the wing? There's nothing there. I mean, what? I don't know what the deal is here. But look, it's gotten very charcoal. Now, I wonder, since this was very cheap and it's not working well anyway, I'm going to try using setting spray, which should be clean, and putting that in this cap and kind of capping it. Now, there's nothing rattling around to indicate that this. Okay, now there's like a little fiber here, presumably from the felt tip. Okay, so now it's liquidy again. It's just watery. So it's kind of like the charcoal liquid diluted with liquid. It's not opaque like it was for the first one, but at least that can give a sharper line. Now, does this match? I was always taught you point it towards your eyebrow. So lining up the end of your eye with your eyebrow, it could be, I guess you could do it like the bottom lash line pointed up towards your brow, under your brow, or where the end of the brow is meant to be, if you can tell. I've got these hairs kind of that have popped up. So that's one of those angles that's, I forget what they call it, like not sacred geometry, but like the Michelangelo thing. There's certain proportions that are considered optimal. So now this side, I don't know what happened, but somehow, I guess when I have my eye closed, the tail looks smaller. I'm sorry, bigger. Like when I got it pulled, and then when I let go, I don't realize it's kind of small. This side kind of does like a little scoopy swoop, almost like a parenthesis. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, do I then take it from the very end or not, because I feel like that could cause the eye to look like it's dropping a bit. So I'm going back over here, lining things up. I want, you know, since I'm about to wash this up, I kind of want to make this dramatic and see what happens. Again, going over the mascara that's already here is kind of unusual. Yep, that's getting a little dramatic, but I don't hate it. I guess everyone does theirs differently. Like when I like this, it's going to be wider. And then when I release it, it's going to go back down and kind of retract, shrink, whatever you want to call it. Kind of like a slinky, I guess. But then you get, okay, now my line is wobbly. That's not great. I guess that's where people go in with concealer, but I don't want to be dragging it underneath. I don't know if I'm so used to using a paintbrush, and these pens are not impressing me. Maybe it's time for, I mean, video is not too bad. I think we're now getting to dramatic theatery type looks. I feel like this is starting to look a little 60s, especially with the light, somewhat frosty lips. But what I'm seeing, I think it's just not close enough to the eyelash line, because I feel like I'm seeing lashes, white, then black. So what do? I guess we could try lifting and really getting it closer in there. I don't think this is a situation where, I mean, you can kind of stretch it a bit. I don't think this is a situation where the waterline is going to help that much. I'd have to double check to see if this is as thick as they had it, if this really is kind of like a 60s look. But yeah, that is definitely pretty thick. Let's make it even thicker. Let's just have fun. Before bathing time is playtime. I mean, do I want to wear that out and about? I guess we could. I would still like to put some shadow over it because it's so bold and dark and just so much contrast for my face. Now at this point, we're covering like what, half the lid with eyeliner. It's not my kind of thing, but it's an option. I would say now we are into that singer territory who made choices that ended her life early. I mean, that's dramatic, all right. The question is, because it covers the color, does it tone down the color, or does it just draw a lot of attention because it's so dark and contrasting? Incidentally, I do like how that wing finally kind of smoothed out, except a little bit at the bottom. And I'm trying to remember how people do that graphic eyeliner. I feel like they do a more straight line. We can play with that in a minute. Well, let's see. I've got some skin showing here, I think. But so here's the thing. You normally wouldn't go quite this far in to the corner, because look at you, that does seem like a natural place to go, but then you've got the inner corner, which seems like you've left something out. So it's kind of better to just fade it out over here. And then there was a makeup artist that did a line like this, which I sometimes use in a light fashion for theater or dramatic uses. But look at, this is all jaggedy. So how do we smooth this out, especially with this pen, which is giving us issues? Now, I would normally do this with a paintbrush. So it's like just at the middle, you kind of touch this thin line. And then I've left this this needs to be more into a point. And then you get into, okay, well, so where's the thick part? And you don't want it kind of going into your creases there. Well, that's dramatic, isn't it? But doesn't it give kind of like maybe like an Egyptian vibe, perhaps? Was the eye of something? But then again, you could try connecting these. Let's give it a go. Each step I'm like, this could mess it up. We'll see. So now, This feels like it's gonna be a problem. You know what? Let's start on this one and just do an entire outline. I feel like this works better on people that are very tan. It kind of just feels like it is more meant to be, I think. But I haven't done it in a while. And if I were really gonna do this, I would probably go with a lighter, not a such a contrasting black for me. Generally speaking, I don't, other than those very tan people who are going for like a super smoky look, I rarely find this to be flattering. Because when you're circling the whole eye, I feel like it's not giving the eye its best look. If anything, I feel like it's kind of closing it off. Like to me, that looks angry. It looks like maybe I practice witchcraft. Not me. I mean, I'm tie-dye people, watercolor people tend not to, but oh, that's the thing. Now this matches my shirt more that I've changed it. But point being that, I mean, just with slight resting face, I don't want to talk to me. I that feels like unfriendly, closed off, serious, like don't mess with me. So I guess if you're trying to maybe send that message, that's fine. Whereas this, even though it's so much more dramatic, I feel like it's open and you can like, maybe it's negative space, but you can kind of, it feels like a dancer would wear this, and it's striking, but to me it's more inviting. Like, come find out what this is about. Whereas this is, stay away from me. And especially something over here. I don't know what it is. Do you see the difference though? I mean, I think some people learned this type of technique at some point in decades past. This, I have not seen this come back in style, but I think if they learned this, or maybe like when eyeliner first came out in certain forms more readily available, they might have just thought, okay, you line your whole eye. That's what makes sense. But that's not what we were taught in makeup for theater, which he also taught beauty makeup, which is like everyday street makeup. And he is kind of famous. He's worked on movies and TV. So yeah, I'm going to listen to him. He's also just awesome in general. Great teacher. We all loved him. So do you see though? Do you see what I mean? And I wouldn't even know of the colors I have here what to buff that with. Actually, yeah. So we're going away from the pastel. I want to wash my makeup brushes anyway. So let's go into this, which for me, everything kind of ends up looking black. So I love this. Oh, it smells so good. I love the purple. Let's see what happens. Do you see how purple it is here? I find it looks very nice here, but I will show you what it looks applied. So let's see if we can kind of turn this into a smoky eye. This again is the time to play with the makeup, because I very well may not like how this looks, and I wouldn't want to be seen in public with this. So at the end of the day, again, especially when I've been in and not contaminating my face with pollen and miscellaneous environmental contaminants, this is the time to play. Do I like this technique? Do I like this color? You know, do I like, you know, do I find this is somehow softening the eyeliner enough to make it acceptable? Would I want to wear this in the day? Would I want to wear this at night only? I mean, I will say that does somewhat soften it, one might say. But is it now bringing it so far down that it's starting to look like Monster Mash, or, you know, coming down halfway to the under eye? I'm trying to think what I have that's kind of like flaking onto the skin, but thankfully it's not showing up too much. So then what do we do about the top? Well, something even darker. I'm going to do the Gilded Ganache, which looks green in the pan, but is not. I'm going to stick with this brush for now. A lot of times I'll just pull a paper towel off and use that to change colors, but sometimes having it on the roll gives you the pressure evenly, so you don't have to like put it on your leg to get the color off. Hopefully you can see that. I mean, I'm going in for another dark color. I don't think the purple would be an issue because it barely has the look of purple. So I feel like it's destroying such pretty watercolors from earlier. But again, I haven't done smoky much lately. I would be less likely to attempt it for a daytime, especially going someplace like the temple. Like, again, it can look great if your skin is already close to the colors of this darkness. But if I'm going for something so contrasting, like the smoky colors, for me, pastel works for smoky. But these dark colors are such a contrast to my skin that it can look too harsh. And I would not consider that something flattering for the temple. So now I feel like that eye has become less, like it's become, I think the smokiness now makes it more sultry than those harsh lines. I haven't tried smoky with this kind of thing. I don't know how that would work, but we're not done yet here because something is still kind of shutting the eye, I think. I think we need to bring the smokiness up. And I need to dust this off because we got a lot of fallout. So now I want to go into Black Forest Truffle, which looks like a burgundy. But again, and it's got these like speckles in it as if it's metallic. I feel like my ocular socket area is just built so differently than most people. So I feel like some of the techniques they use just don't seem to work for me. Like when they go in their crease and do something, I feel like mine doesn't look the same. And this area too, like the outer V, I don't know if it's my eyebrow. I do have a lot of space in this area though, which is, I love it. But I feel like the shapes I have to end up making are different. And then coming in this way, you know, some people would say you go parallel to the brow, the bottom of the brow, and then kind of wing that out. Interesting, interesting. Now it's, I think, beyond smoky, and we're back into some level of dramatic. What next? It's probably worth blending out, but why don't I use a lighter color? I'll use the white chocolate since I have so much of it. It's this matte white one down here, and we'll go from there. So I'm loading up my bigger fluffy brush. I'm at the brow bone. So this is going to hopefully highlight the brow bone a bit while blending out that darkness we just put on. Going past the eyebrow can be a little tricky. Like it's going to be a little more dramatic. I don't hate it. I can't remember if I've tried anything smoked here. I mean, might as well. But I feel like things blended tend to look good. Blending is definitely a skill worth knowing. I feel like if I use this to dust things away, it's going to kind of dirty this up as a highlighter brush. But even though it doesn't show up on camera, I just wanted to brush that away. Hopefully I will remember to clean that before I go highlighting with eyeshadow dust. So let's see. Now I'm going to go in this Champagne Truffle, which is like the equivalent light, large shade. It's more shimmery. Because if there's an opportunity for shimmer and metallic, I want that. And then we're going to go back into the inner corner where it had come off earlier. And I want to put some below as well. See if that can kind of be, what's the word? Kind of like on the highway, those cement things to keep you from going to the other side. I don't want this kind of creeping down as the day goes on. Not, I mean, I'm gonna take it off, but isn't it interesting how we use this, you know, the same eyeliner, totally different technique. It looks so different from here to here. I feel like this could be softened up enough where this maybe could be daytime if, I suppose, with the right lip. I don't really do nude lips much. I don't have the long wear in the nude colors. I've tried some from ColourPop that I think they look nice, but I don't want to have to reapply my lipstick all the time. All right, so what can we do on the other side? I'm going to go with this brush into Hot chocolate and the creme brulee. Which one do I want to do first, though? Because the creme brulee is much later. And then there's hazelnut right next to it. Maybe I'll start with hazelnut. That's the medium one. And I want to see what happens if I try to act like this is going to be smoky. It'd be interesting to see what things are like making that negative space smoky. All right, let's just take it on to the nose. Okay, well that at least places down evenly. Let's go to the hot chocolate. Although I think this could use a smaller brush. Now I'm going right over the line. So that's ending up to soften the line a bit. Just by putting the powder down. I'm not sure that I like this so much. Although I guess the way some people contour, I could just rub it in and get some nose contour. It's almost too straight of a line now for me. Now what? Well, let's try the creme brulee with a bigger brush. And again, it's like we're almost getting to face painting at this point. And then something needs to happen here with blending. Just kind of diffuse that out, I guess. Some could say it's better than a totally harsh line, but what can we do at the top now? Well, to stay a little bit colorful, now we've got the cherry cordial, which is this dark red. Stick with the smaller brush. I'm gonna go right. Oh gosh, did you see all that fall out? It's like a pile. I'm gonna go right over the eyeliner. Oh gosh, that is so much. So I guess this is one where when you load it up, tap it off before you go in. To me, going from such beautiful, light, bright pastel colors to just all this darkness where you can't even really see color, you just see dark. To me, I think yuck. But we're here, so let's have the fun we can and appreciate the color from earlier. Oh man, Fallout City. I'm trying to not go into that negative space because I feel like that's there for a reason. It can look nice. I'm gonna stick with this cherry cordial. So now I'm just like tapping it into the pan and maybe swirling it a bit as well. But then, it just flicked into the much lighter pink. I'm gonna tap back into the pan, but now we've got just dust. So I don't know how much more we can layer this. You know what I want to try? Setting spray. A lot of people will wet their brush. I'm trying this. Now suddenly I'm seeing more of the metallic flecks. I don't know why I haven't seen people do that. I mean, once it dries, hopefully it'll be easy enough to blend again. At the moment, it's more color placement than blending. Like right here, got very jaggedy. That will need strong blending. But what if we bring this down here? I don't think I like that. But, oh, you know what this reminds me of? Let's just go full on theater. There are characters where they chisel out the nose. Like, the thing is, the contouring people act like they just invented it or something, like it's a new thing. No, this has been happening in theater always. Or at least a really long time. And then what kind of brush do I want to push that down? I'm just gonna go with this. Trying to get that line no longer a sharp line. I'd have to review what is done around the nose, but look at that's like. So we are out of everyday wear land. This feels fairly dry, so let's see about since that dust is on the cherry cordial, I'm gonna like flick it back over and use the strawberry bonbon light pink to blend, 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 and brown one. Blend, 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 and brown one. Blend, 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 blend. We do not say blend, blend, blend. But we do say blend, blend, blend. I feel like the light pink is kind of getting lost a bit, but it does seem to facilitate the blending. And now we've lost all the beautiful color from earlier, but that's kind of what we're here for. I almost feel like this fits now. I forget, I think it was, I don't know, was it Mephistopheles that he did all this deep chiseling contour? It's funny, from that side, they don't look that different. From this side, quite dramatic. But I feel like that blending really helped. It's like I'm about to go wash this off, and yet I'm more bothered by the fallout than usual. Thankfully, maybe because I set this earlier, it's not sticking, even though it looks a little like oil could have come through, but I'm not usually very oily. So I guess those are some options. I don't like how dark all this is. That I could live without. With a smoky eye, I mean, the thing is, look at now that really harsh eyeliner, both because it's near darkness, it's not so harsh of a contrast, but also since the other colors have been placed over the eyeliner, that also mutes it ever so slightly. And this is never going to be fully blended out. And this one, and you know, the benefit is you see your eye waterline there, and it kind of opens up the eye a bit. I will say one fun, interesting benefit of putting eyeshadow on after you already have eyeshadow on and eyeliner and mascara, doing things in such an out of order, by having the eyeliner placed, that kind of helps to tell you where to stop the eyeshadow, because otherwise you could end up having it go too low and then you have to smush it off. So I wouldn't do that normally unless I wanted to put the eyeshadow over it to kind of mute it a bit. It's also, I guess, worth noting how it didn't smudge the actual eyeliner. It just added color over it, and then the darkness around it made it less of a contrast. So in that case, putting the eyeliner on before eyeshadow would make some sense. But this is why it's fun to play with makeup, and it's worth practicing before you're going to wash it off. So if you don't like it, you're not stuck with it during the day or having to go back and redo it when that would be very inconvenient. Although I feel relatively close to conclusion, wow, that is very dark. And it's kind of interesting just to see how much lives in the brush. By the way, I know I've said this before, not only does this smell delicious, but if you're going to have the deal with the dust, I already knew this was the case, but I tapped it on my hand and then tasted it as I accidentally did before, because it's yummy, it's sweet, it shouldn't taste, eyeshadow should not taste so good. I wouldn't go, and definitely don't contaminate your palette. But if if it's going to have dust that's going to get discarded anyway, and for some reason, I don't know if they add a sweetener, if it's just supposedly since it's made with cocoa powder. But anyway, I now wanted to try, well, okay, so we've got the champagne truffle, which is that super light color. Then we've got creme brulee and marzipan, which are fairly light. And they seem to me a little bit more opaque. So I'm going to try the marzipan for the middle. Give it kind of a highlight. Ooh, yes. Okay, so I like that really shows up over such dark colors. Now, I don't know left on all day if that will remain. That's kind of how the standard makeup used to go. And I'm not as familiar with the specifics of the halo eye that people do, but just for fun, let's go up through the crease all the way there. That actually, it's not that far off from the quote unquote traditional options. And so what is neat is that kind of brings it back down from being dramatic and smoky. I might even just go along the brow bone with the creme brulee. I mean, it's not that much different than the champagne truffle. But what I really love is how loudly it can go over the dark. Like it holds its own. Again, don't know if that'll stay that way, but this way you're left with the outer V darkened, but I feel like that needs a little bit of blending. So I might, and then what was already here, which I don't want to add more, but I almost need a brush like this, but tinier. I guess this one, yeah, that's smaller. So in this case, I'm going to go to hazelnut, which is that medium brown, because I don't want it to go super dark and get out of control. I think that's what I was looking for. And I feel like there's still enough darkness left here. Now I will say I feel like it's settling in and not showing up quite as much. Let me just try creme brulee, see how that works. Oh, marzipan was the one I was in. I don't know which one I was saying, because creme brulee is right under marzipan, so I could have mixed that up. The more pink one. So I'm not seeing this show up a whole lot. Let me just try it over here. I guess somewhat. But now I want us to try this champagne truffle. All right, so that works as like a really highlighted inner dot. You can even see it. Oh, yeah. And now the eyeliner line is, I think, at least by the eyes, hardly anywhere to be found. So I feel like this is now made it a little bit more wearable. We've got light colors over dark colors, but they are in the neutral family, which is more natural, kind of, you might say. So I feel like one could get away with this during the day if they want. Now I want to go back and creme brulee the middle of this eye. Why is that not sticking, considering how well marzipan stuck? Is it because I have the setting spray there? I don't know. Let's go back with marzipan and see. Is that just a stickier color? Oh, there's something to this. It is not wanting to stick. But what if we go back with the setting spray? And again, this is my least favorite setting spray as far as setting foundation and all that. Now it's getting kind of blotchy. So I'm going to wipe this off again. Where's my palette? Put setting spray on the palette. Dip the brush in. Get it relatively saturated. That really soaked that up more than I thought. Now back to creme brulee and see if that makes a difference. Oh, heck yes. Do you see this? It is now like, oh my gosh, it is like face paint almost. Holy wow. Now again, that still may settle in. But let's just say I want my whole lid lightened. Wow. That's better than I thought. So here's a way to use Too Faced. And then let's say I think things are too dark out here. Now I'm putting light over it. And that does a whole new effect. Oh my gosh. Do you see how opaque that is? And metallic? I mean, is it the most metallic ever? No. But is it such a difference? Absolutely. So where else can we try that out? Respring the palette. I guess this brush had a decent amount on it. Saturating at least the ends of the bristles. Going into champagne truffle, like the white shimmer, and I want to highlight the negative space there. This brush is too big for this. I'm trying to use I'm trying to get the tip to smush out to a fine point tip, but this really probably is not the brush for it. But again, we're just playing. We don't need perfection here. I can go all the way in if I want. Ooh, And if I'm already here, maybe that setting spray is a little bit better than I thought, at least for this. I'll have to try other ones with the eyeshadow and see if that makes a difference, because who knows, maybe a setting spray that's not my favorite for foundation still could be for eyeshadow. But I think you have to try different eyeshadows, because not only do they work differently when dry, I wonder if they work differently when wet. Look at that opacity. But okay, I'm just wiping this on the paper towel again. And as I put down the brightness, it really picked up a lot of the color from beneath. So I might even try this kind of brush. If I'm going in there again, what was I just going to try? Oh yeah, I was going to go, I'll use this brush. Spraying the palette, wetting the brush. Oh gosh, oh my goodness. I have not been using dark colors, and look at that. That's what just came off. So it really picked up a lot of color when I put down the lighter color. So this would be worth getting the rubbing alcohol. I know I have it around here somewhere. This is a case to get another palette out. So I've got this out when I've been using this for setting spray. You do not want to mix rubbing alcohol and mistake that for setting spray and get that in or around your eyes. So I'm just kind of dipping it. I mean, normally it would be good to have something more like a cup, small glass perhaps, but I'm just kind of scooping up, if you will, the rubbing alcohol, and a little bit of the pigment is coming off on the palette. But my goodness, can you believe that? How is there all that dark color when the last thing well, point is it has worked, but still, wow, this is why you need to clean your brushes. And I think eyeshadow brushes are some of the easiest to clean, so you could just clean it every day if you want to. Just rub it in a bar of soap under the water. Be sure to let them dry. I can't believe how much pigment is still coming out of here. So this definitely needs a thorough washing for now. So now I've still got alcohol on here a bit, so I'm going to wave it around and continue to rub it on the paper towel. And these paper towels have ridges. I think that really helps. All right, so I was going to use a setting spray and go into the champagne truffle. This is far enough away from my eye. I'm not as concerned. I still wouldn't. This is just an experiment. So now we're like painting this on, more literally like face paint. I kind of like it. I haven't tried mattes with the setting spray situation. Now, I guess this kind of gives you the cut crease effect, which we have done in theater. Could blend it as well. Now I want to try, how does this work with the matte light? The way it kind of soaked into the pan concerns me. Maybe it's becoming a cream. Makes me nervous. All right, at this point, it's hard to say where it's actually even coming down and working. So now, just to play, I want to go in with that and start just drawing on my face to see, is it even working? Now this color, it could be partially what's already in my brush. It could be, I guess it kind of matches this color, that how it looks with the setting spray. But I'm going to try with my finger. It's not really coming onto my finger now, but does the dry one? Yes, the dry one does. But the one that has the setting spray, is that going to end up hard panned? Which I finally learned that they call it that. That's why you do it on one side. So if you mess it up, you can just scrape that top part off. Yeah, that's not looking great. I don't know if the brush would make a difference. I guess I could try this brush. I also wonder if I add that setting spray to the bottle that does a much finer mist, can it mist that, even though, all right, this is showing up again. Can it mist finally, even though this is a different formula, and since on the one hand, I thought I should wait till I get a new bottle of the one I like, because there's only a little bit left, but I wouldn't want to ruin what little I have left if that's gonna be the case. Now, again, I suppose this could be a preview of the color it's going to look like after it mixes with your oils in your face. Like, that is darker than my skin, and yet look how light it is in the pan. So what do we do? What do we do? And the good thing about having your rubbing alcohol nearby is you can instantly sanitize your hands. But one thing I'm remembering, oh, I just splashed a drop into the pan. Hopefully that does not ruin salted caramel. One thing about playing with makeup is your face is your canvas. And that's why you get the colors in your hand. You see how things work. You practice before you're going to wash it off so you can see how things end up. I may have mentioned this before, but this palette, although it smells delicious, and some of the lighter colors are viable for me, even though I don't tend to wear neutrals, I was so disappointed in how everything beyond the midway darkness was so dark on me, like almost black, too dark. And it still is a fun experience to get to smell it every time. But playing with it this way both tells me, oh, wow, I can use creme brulee with setting spray in a paint way over the other colors, and that comes out in a way that I enjoy and performs more like paint, can be more cut crease type of look if I want. But also, if I decide I don't like any of the colors, I can still learn techniques that are useful, like blending, noticing the differences between the satin, the shimmers, the metallics, the ones with those glittery flecks in there that it's hard to even know what the deal is. Like the Black Forest Truffle, it's kind of gritty feeling. And most of the glittery flecks don't show up. And it's not even, it doesn't even seem to be in a full matte. It feels like in a very splotchy matte. And then you don't get the benefit of the sparkles. So kind of what's the point? And it's so dark. Like, this is supposed to be the one that's kind of the burgundy. And then you've got its neighbor amaretto, also feeling a little gritty. Such a similar color, but more metallic. But look, brown. And yet it looks burgundy kind of wine. Now that one's metallic at least. And it might act differently with a setting spray. But you know, most of these could be good eyeliners. The triple fudge is the darkest, it's almost black. But all the dark ones, I can use the eyeliners. I can add the setting spray. I can try Duraline, make an eyeliner that's lighter than full black, and use a paintbrush where I have more control and more options for paintbrushes and that perform more the way I want, but especially don't have like the super dramatic line that I wasn't loving in that pen for so many reasons. So even when you have a palette that disappoints you, keep playing with it. Even if you don't like the colors, practice your techniques. I mean, I could go in here with these dark colors, practice contouring. Not that I do that, but we did that in theater. And it gives an option for placement. Again, before you're going to go wash your face, if you totally mess it up and make your face look the opposite of how you want, no harm done. You're about to wash it off. And you use colors that you don't really want anyway, but you're using up your makeup, getting your money's worth, not just losing out, and getting to practice the skills. And you know what? The quality is decent in some ways, and it's still the fun of it being scented like chocolate. So there are benefits to playing with makeup that you're less than thrilled with, and still a lot of reason to use it, to practice with it, to try new things when you're about to go wash it off. I can't remember what I ended up doing over here. I think I did the setting spray with the matte light, and so that gave more of the cut crease look. And then okay, so let's say you want to practice how far up above the crease do you want to go? What does it look like to do above here and then go down here? All kinds of different placement you can practice. There's just so many ways you can practice your makeup without using up your favorite makeup. This is now precious to me. I am not going to be just smearing makeup from there on at the end of the day. That is the one I'm going to be using the looks from the website and testing when I actually plan to utilize the makeup for the day, because it's more expensive than I'm used to, and they're colors I can't get more so easily. I really hope that becomes part of her normal rotation, because even though it's my first palette, the Circo Loco is pretty colors for paint, but they're so dark, they won't work on me. And this, I think, was from TJ Maxx, and I'm sure I got it in clearance. So it was one of my first forays into Too Faced, at least lately anyway. So there's benefits, even when you end up with palettes that just are meh, or some great qualities like the scent and some meh qualities, like they're too dark for me. Still play. I mean, that's the joy of makeup. If you're, some people will just slap on some makeup because it makes them feel more put together to run out the door, and other people love the art of it. Remember, even though it's your face, there aren't rules that you must only use makeup to accentuate and flatter. You can use makeup to have color and fun and experiment, and that's really therapeutic for a lot of people, and therefore it's a healthy pursuit. There's no substance use or problems or addictions involved. So go ahead and have fun with artistry, with your renewable canvas that you've known your whole life, and see what art you can create and make. As always, may we be peaceful, happy, healthy, kind, loving. May we remember, there's that quote. I better go get it. Well, I love the pause feature, but I went down such a distraction rabbit hole. I tried to look up this quote, and of course, these things are always telling you suggested other things to look at. I don't even know how long that took, but I believe it was President Uchtdorf where I heard this, where he said, before you speak, think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? That spells out think. I'll say it again. Before you speak, think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? So may we go in the world giving more love from heaven to our fellow humans. May we think before we speak. May we be full of the joy of heaven. And always remember that heaven is cheering you on. Peace be with you.